Welcome. So PTSD, anxiety, and depression affect our heroes daily, limiting their ability to live the lives they deserve. Discover how Harmonetiks is delivering real results quickly through a groundbreaking method. Welcome to WellWaveNOW. This is your portal for actionable wellness insights. Meet your empowerment team. Traveling but with us today is Breck, the healthcare disruptor, decoder of medication complexities, and community and integrative wellness expert. Dr. Bob Levine, a renowned brain researcher and national leader in drug-free pain elimination. And I'm Tim Daniels, Wellness Plan Manager, builder of personalized wellness approaches as unique as you are, with an expertise in pulse electromagnetic field therapy. Together, we are your wellness catalysts, committed to elevating your health, enhancing your functionality, and optimizing your performance at every life stage. Our objective is to provide you with innovative strategies to boost your happiness and unlock your body's full health potential. We're WellWaveNOW, where timeless wisdom lights your wellness path. And that last little item there on timeless wisdom is especially appropriate today as we bring in Dr. Jeffreyczimmerman with us, who's joining us. He's a doctor of Oriental medicine, a licensed acupuncturist who earned that certification in China, where he was also the first American to be invited to practice medical Qigong at Chinese hospitals. Through all this knowledge and integrating that Western science along with these traditional, ancient, proven practices, he's the founder of Harmonetiks, which is a unique program. And he's targeted that now to help veterans, and first responders. Jeff's had an over 30-year career, and it includes working at Columbia University Medical Center and having served as an alternative medical advisory board for Oxford Health Plans. And of course, bringing healing and performance enablement to people under an extensive variety of conditions. His easy breath technique provides a simple, effective way to harmonize the body's energy for better mental well-being. And I've known Jeff for about 7 years now, and it's just been impressed with him since the day I met him and what he provides and how he does it. So welcome, Jeff.
Thank you very much, Tim. Let's get this party started.
All right. So to do that, we want to understand why Harmonetiks approach is critical to those first responders and to the veterans that we talked about a little bit. And so we want to understand the challenges that you found them facing so far in terms of the PTSD, the anxiety, and depression, and put that in general context for us, if you would, Jeff, a little bit.
Okay. Dr. Bob, you had your hand up. Was that a question or?
Well, I was just going to ask an opening question. I think Tim got it there, but I wanted to ask you, why are veterans and first responders, are they uniquely affected by mental health challenges like PTSD, anxiety, and depression? And if they are, why do you think that is?
You know what? I think we're all human, and these people have been through a lot. If you're talking about, especially, people who've been in combat, and what they see every day. So since we're human, they're being bombarded, right, by all sorts of different things happening all at the same time, especially in wartime, right? Just imagine what that does. You know better than I, Dr. Bob, right? What that's going to do to the neurological system in the brain, in the body, where things theoretically can make sense, but they can't, right? But they don't. So the idea is that the body was designed to be in harmony. Ancient medicine says the body's designed to be in harmony. Cutting-edge Western medicine says the body is designed to be in harmony, right? Your lungs and your spleen are supposed to work together, and your kidneys and your heart, and all these systems are designed by nature to harmonize. So like a musical instrument, the first thing you have to do is tune the instruments. So that's what brought me to the easy breath. And the idea is I went to veterans first because if a veteran can do this with what they've gone through, and they can heal themselves and do it for themselves and find it easy, we've hit people who are skeptical, people who have a really deep issue, and they can do it. And that's why I'm just, how do I put it, fascinating and enamored by the fact that combat medics have said, I like this works, and let's spread it.
Well, I like the fact that you're going for really challenging cases in a way, because when you can solve that, you can solve it for everybody. So that's kind of the philosophy that I have. I like to go for really challenging situations, and you're doing that. So that's really great.
Yeah, but I think the challenging situations are indeed crucial. Like you said, once you've done that, you can do it for everybody. But I think it's also, very important, as we talked about it in the open a little bit, that these are our heroes, and it stays and they deserve a good life. Everybody deserves a good life, but especially them, I think, that does as well. And it's close to my heart because my father was one I used to say, one day short of 31 years he spent in the Army, and had been through 2 wars on the stateside and the third, and had been through quite a bit there. So when I was very young, got to be around a number of veterans before he retired. We moved back to my mother's hometown. But you look at, I think there's over 16 million veterans out there from all the various services. Then you add the first responders, including the police and the EMTs and the firefighters. That's probably over 1 million. And these are the people that kind of give their lives to defend our country. Two, then work to save us internally here for the first responders. And for them, seeing all that, that trauma on a recurring basis, really, I think, puts them into this, what we're talking about with the PTSD and anxiety. And it's very, 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 I'm sure you've seen it, Jeffrey, and Dr. Bob, you probably have as well in your work. That PTSD and anxiety can be very impactful on somebody's life. I mean, it affects it's a suicide rate. It affects their relationships, makes them so untrusting, makes them hyper vigilant, affects their sleep. And Bob, as we talked about in the episode before, the stress and the lack of sleep, that affects their health, not just the mental health, but affects their physically. So I think the work you're doing, Jeffrey, is very, 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 very important, very key. Okay. Now, so with that, I think we need to hop right in and show people, what this conception, you've talked about it. Love to see kind of what it is. And so if you'll demonstrate it for us, that would be great.
No, we're not going to do that. Of course we are. If we're not going to have fun, so don't get serious on me. So I just want to add a couple of things that you guys have brought it up. We're a service provider for Veteran Mission Possible, which is, to go out there and to start bringing down the suicides, right? Because they say 22 a day. Actually, the number is closer to 44 or more who you talk to. We're a service provider for end veteran death. So the Harmonetiks project, and we'll send you the link later, the harmoneticsproject.org has been, let's say, vetted, right? We've done this for a year. We've done the, a pilot project for a year. So I just want you to realize that, this isn't our first rodeo, if you want to say that. So, and we don't fix PTSD. We don't fix any of those things. We put you in the place which you were designed. You're designed to be in this natural state of peacefulness. That's what I call tuning, right? So the first thing you do for an instrument is you tune it. So if you're doing all this other stuff and I'm meditating and I'm doing the other, but you haven't tuned the instrument, right? Tune the instrument first. And that's what we're going to do. Like, again, in music, if people are musicians, say, no, there's an A. You play the note A so everybody can tune. That's what we're going to start with today. We're going to show you how to tune yourself, how to find peacefulness inside of yourself. And then you can do that anytime, anywhere you want. So this is how we start. I'm going to demonstrate it to you standing, and do it sitting as well. Standing, people seem to feel that it's you get a little bit more difference in feel in the body as a start. But again, you can do it sitting down. Eventually, you can do it lying down. I'm going to demonstrate it standing up. And you guys that you're sitting, enjoy it. You have any questions? It's also going to be it's a skill level. Once you learn how to do it and you get that skill level, you can do it instantly, anywhere, at the airport, subway in New York, anywhere. Okay, so here's how it goes. And here's where it's really funny. This is where we have a lot of fun with it. I'm going to step back so you can see my feet. Okay. Anywhere that you go, just look at the way people are standing. I have no idea why my hip hurts. My child is 50 years old now, right? If they're standing like that, they're causing stress on their hip, right? On their ankle, on their foot, right? And somebody just look around. Again, never judge anyone, just observe, okay? And you can see some people are standing like this. Some people are standing like this. You're going to see all sorts of things. Never judge. What we did years ago at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital and other places, when people were in the right place, the brain calmed down. That's what I'm calling finding that note, tuning. So it's the first thing that you want to do is where can I establish that place of calmness in my body? I'm going to retrain the neural pathways in my body. And after, weeks or a month or so, that's going to be the preferred response. So this is how we start. So you stand comfortably, feet shoulder width apart. If you have any compromising or whatever, do the best you can with what you got. Okay? Don't force anything. Find that place where it's comfortable, right? This is known as the athletic stance, right? This is a high horse stance in martial arts, golf, baseball, you name it. It's a form of just this stance, right? So when you're there, take a breath, right? Don't, like a lot of people say, take a breath, they go, no, just take a breath. Just feel where your breath is at. Again, you're unique to yourself, but a lot of people notice that the breath is up here. Okay, just use that as an example. So what we ask you to do now is, and I'm going to give you the side view. You lean forward. If you lean forward, and you can kind of feel like, wait a second, my body's getting tense, and then take a breath, and you'll feel whether you're sitting or standing. I'm compromised. I can't breathe so well, right? Then don't fall, but you can fool around and go a little bit on your heels, not a lot, just a little bit. And again, you can feel how you're compromised, right? So go back to that place where you go, okay, I'm not tight forward, not tight back. Here is where, my breathing is easier. Now we're going to take you to find the spot of tuning in your body. You are not there yet. We're getting there, okay? So now, back to the backwards and forwards. Remember, like a seesaw, right? You go forward and back and forward and back gently, not a lot. Don't hurt yourself, but you go forward on your inhale, and on your exhale, you go towards your heels, and you're going to find a spot where I'm not going forward, I'm not going back, and there's a balance spot like a seesaw. And again, it's a skill level. You'll do it today. You say, oh, I got this. And tomorrow you go, oh, I get more out of it. So find that spot. And when you found that spot, take another breath. So Dr. Bob, Tim, do you want to say anything? You notice a change in your breath?
Just relaxing.
It's relaxing, right? And you're not doing anything. It's just naturally. Now we're going to the secret sweet spot, okay? Now, you have the ball of the foot, and you have the spot where you found that balance. In between that, so if you go a little bit towards the ball of your foot, it's micro movements now, and back to that balance part of the seesaw, right in between, there's a sweet spot. And when you feel that sweet spot, your body relaxes even more. That's known as earth surge. This is now the spot, and it's also known as kidney 1, earth surge, and that feeds the brain. That feeds your immune system. That feeds your knees. So once you've found that center spot, there's a spot, just go a little bit forward to that ball of the foot, a little bit back to there, right in between. Again, this is much easier to find when you're standing than when you're sitting. So when you're standing, suddenly your body goes, and you found the sweet spot. There you go. Looks like you're finding it, Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
Right?
Dr. Bob's always in the sweet spot, Jeff.
I know, you're probably the sweet spot. Tim is the sweet spot. Yeah, but the cool thing is that I've known Tim for a while, but I'm just meeting Dr. Bob right now.
Right.
Got that, Dr. Bob?
What's that? Sorry.
Can you feel that? You feel that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the yoga masters say Tadasana, which is, this is kind of form of that, is in every pose in yoga. In Harmonetiks, we show you how to find that pose. Find that. I've taught yoga people over the years just to find that in Tadasana. It changes how they experience their yoga. So right here.
How does it change it? How does it change it?
You felt it. It's like,
Okay, so it's a deeper relaxation for them?
Correct. And then we can show them through Harmonetiks, and the Harmonetiks, the program we're about to bring out with that, is how do you find that in the yoga positions. But more importantly, the secret is in between the positions. Again, this is all the stuff we're going to be bringing out, but unless you get your instrument tuned, it doesn't matter. Tell a violinist, don't tune your violin, right? And they'll laugh at you, right? So this is what we're calling, this is the foundation of the easy breath. There are 6 classes which get you involved in the upward flow of the energy, the downward flow, why we do it this way. the integration of up and down, and then how it moves through your body, and that's why we can teach in a weekend. We can teach it. We're teaching it now online in 6 weeks, an hour a week. And then we're going to roll out more information. This is what we brought to the veterans, because, and even veterans who've had brain damage have, whoa, my body feels more relaxed.
Where were the veterans coming from? Your area there?
No, don't rub it in, Dr. Bob. No, I told veterans here. We went to California. They told people in New Mexico, who told people here, and there, New York. So there's at least 8 states. There may be as many as 10 states, because we're teaching online.
Gotcha.
And they tell their friends, right? We're hoping to start, getting something strong in Connecticut now. But it's just fascinating. One person says, "Hey, you got to check this out," and then they tell somebody else, and that's how it's worked. The closest we are is Staten Island, and hopefully soon we're going to be in Manhattan and we'll do Connecticut.
Yeah, so Jeff, I appreciate the demonstration there and taking us through that. Thanks, Ian. I'm reminded of, when I went to see a doctor in Greenwich, and I was taking forth a pulse electromagnetic field therapy to her, and she said, "Tim, this sounds like a bunch of food." And for Jeff, Jeff also, Bob, uses the PEMF, but so we never mention any brand names on the show here. So just as you go through that. But she said, "Tim, this kind of sounds like foo-foo dust, and it sounds like snake oil to me." And I said, "But yeah, doctor, will you look at the science with me? Will you look at the studies and go through it?" And she said yes. And after that, she became a raging fan. She says, she was very, very conventional. So that's why I want your audience, our audience, to hear a little bit, Jeff, because you talk about the places you've gone around to. But you've been working with a good person to kind of set up a controlled environment in a study with this. Give us some of the. So I'd like to hear 2 things. What's been the results of those studies coming from that? Because I know it works, and I will step back for a second here, so we'll have a little fun on how I met. I was first introduced to Jeffrey by a veteran, a Marine, who holds 3. Probably still holds, but I will say at least at one time held 3 world records in 2-fingered pull-ups in that. And he said, you gotta meet Jeffrey, because Jeffrey helped me train for that. And it got me in balance on that. And it got that performance out of me. And plus I could feel the energy coming from him while he witnessed me there, some energy transfer. And so this guy was a very, very conventional person, so it works. But with that, Jeffrey, I want our audience to have that same type of experience with you. So if you would, share some of those study results that you've had so far.
Sure. As far as the Harmonetiks project is concerned, I was very fortunate to have my old friend Jay Van Schelt run into him again. We were both helping a Tai Chi person who had cancer, so we're doing a fundraiser. Jay has an incredible martial arts background, but also an organizational background. So he was the one who really helped to spread it. And along the lines, we met various people. One of them, a medical doctor, said, kind of what you're saying, is that we need to have a study, right? And here is a study that is well respected. It's something with California study. And so let's do a study. And again, the other thing is, remember, what we're all talking about is we love skeptics. Skeptics are the best people, because like that skeptical doctor that you were working with, I love skeptics because they're the easiest one. The Marine, right? You're going to prove my corpse? Show me. And they do. So what they did is there's a study, I don't know the name of it, Jay does, it's very well respected. And the results after a year, 64% received relief of anxiety and 53% relief of pain. And as I like to say to people, who did it? And they go, I did it. The idea is that give people the tools to heal themselves, get themselves back in harmony, right? That was the beauty of studying, and thinking, how do I get this to people rather than me doing it? Teach them how to do it, and then they can teach others. Synchronization, harmonization.
Now, Dr. Bob, this sounds some parallels between what you do over in the pain relief world.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Jeff, what kind of measurement tools were you using when you were monitoring anxiety and pain? relief? Do you remember what you guys were doing?
I was, they kept me out of that specifically so that I don't, influence. So
It makes sense. Makes
yeah,
sense.
right. The medical doctors went to what they know is a well-respected, test
Yeah, survey. Yeah.
survey. They came back with it. So
Great. Okay. Yeah.
I have really smart people around me.
At one time, at some point, I'd love to see the real data that was collected. That'd be kind of fun to look at.
Sure. Jay has that data. We can get
Right.
that.
Wonderful.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing. Everything has to be data driven, right?
Yeah, that's true.
We have to prove it. In the past, we've done blood pressure. In this particular study, it was just anxiety and just pain because that's what these people were experiencing. In the past, I have thermographic images with horses where before I was practicing and doing the energy, which they call Harmonetiks 1 is me working on somebody or an animal. Harmonetiks 2 is them learning to do it for themselves. So we tried it. Somebody goes, we'll see if your stuff works. And they brought a thermographic imaging camera and horses. And there are pictures. The inflammation goes right away. Because once the body comes into harmony, it heals itself. So I love getting data is so fun, especially as Tim said about this doctor. It's like once they see the data, it changes their world. So the more skeptical, the better.
Yeah, and having the data is really vital. I mean, I've found that in my work with pain relief and stress and anxiety relief. And also, the work you're doing with vets and PTSD is so important because PTSD is so prevalent. People don't even realize how prevalent it is. It goes even way beyond, veterans and first responders. It goes into the people in everyday life having experienced PTSD at one point or another, and then they tend to drag it with them. So having a technique like what you're talking about could be very valuable to help them interrupt that, what I call an automatic pattern to have of a post-traumatic stress condition and anxiety condition, interrupting that pattern. It looks like you have a really great technique for doing that.
Right, but I'm so glad you brought that up. This is also vitally important. Out of the Harmonetiks project, since we're dealing with veterans, they need a job, they need self-esteem, right? They're homeless, they're on the street, they need a life purpose. They go into protecting our country, giving their lives to protect our country, and now welcome home and with the PTSD. So what we did is once we teach them, and then they go deeper into it, they can teach others. So the first company that I'll send you the links, Tim. The first for-profit company we call 3D, 2 special operations combat medics, and myself, 3 dots. So it's 3D self-care, 3dselfcare.io is the website. So these gentlemen, right, these guys, and again, what I love about this, they don't have time. You're in combat. Somebody is shot. I don't have time to fool around. I need to get help immediately. And that's what they found in the easy breath. And then they can and through the self-care, and as you pointed out, Dr. Bob, everybody is in this PTSD one way or another, but now they can earn money. So other people, anybody that wants to come through the courses could then, help others and earn money teaching self-care. So,
and self-care is the wave of the future, that's for sure. And that's why Tim and I and Breck are in this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Jeffrey, and on the easy breath, well, a couple of questions around this easy breath, because I know you, and we talked a little bit in the introduction about how you evolved over the 30 years, but at one point you were working, weren't you supporting people in cardiovascular surgery at one point as well?
Yes, in the you have to bring that up, huh, Tim? Wow, it's almost 20 to 23 years ago, 25 years ago. I was asked to come in. Again, does this energy work affect people going through heart surgery, right? And just like you said, no. But there was one heart surgeon. He was head of Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, cardiovascular department at the time, Dr. Oz. He said, would you come in and, and do this while we were doing open heart surgeries? And, so that's what I did, help support the patients. And I believe in the ancient times, they would do this, right? Help the patients while they were having surgery.
Okay. So, and I bring that up because I think I want to understand and want people to understand how this has kind of evolved out of your work. This isn't necessarily something that you dreamed up just two years ago, right? So how did you get to the point of the state you're at now with the easy breath and bringing that out?
We don't have enough time right now, but to make it easy, there's an old joke. You know, a violinist is walking down the street, walks up to somebody, says, "Hey, how do I get to Carnegie Hall?" And he says, "Practice." Practice. It's like anything else. If you keep questioning, wait a second, this person is getting to be better with their heart issue. This person's getting better with their Parkinson's, whatever the medical issue is, it starts to get better. And I love Western science and I love Western medicine. I have a wonderful internist. We banter back and forth to decide what is the best, way to work on any given situation. So I'm a proponent of Eastern and Western working together. I just had to keep questioning, seeing how people's bodies were healing and what I was doing. And then I realized after many years, I can teach you to do it yourself.
Right.
It's fascinating how many people, it's just starting to change now. But once you realize, wait a second, I can fix my back problem. Yes, still, you can still go to your chiropractor, still your naturopath, whatever, but they're going to be so pleased when you walk in there and show that you've done something to help yourself, which makes their lives better. And then they can also go and help the sick patients. So we're not detracting, we're working more together.
Yeah, Jeff, I just want to ask a quick question. You mentioned Parkinson's disease. Have you had any experience with Parkinson's disease and your easy breath technique?
I should pay you for that question, Dr. Bob.
Well, I have a strong interest in Parkinson's disease, and I've actually worked with a bunch of patients. So I'm curious what your background is in it.
I'm currently working with somebody now, and I get to, I like to yell at her because she's an attorney. Okay. She's a highfalutin attorney, and she's got the Parkinson's, right? And we get her into the easy breath, and she's starting to move, and she's smooth. And I go, your case does not hold water. Your case is not holding water, because when they're moving like this, right? You say, how do you have, you just, she's losing her case. And then what we do, we always laugh. I go, and who's doing that? I'm doing that.
Sure, absolutely.
Exactly what, if we can start transforming people and say, wait a second, I can do this. And with the easy breath, they start doing it. In my fantasy world, we could have a whole, since we're doing this on Zoom, we can have a whole class of people starting to synchronize and getting the confidence. Wait a second, I'm like this, and now I'm kind of getting it like this, and then I'm learning the easy breath, and I can get myself smooth. It just is going to take a while to change the brain. Again, with their Western doctors, right? But let the Western do what they do. Let's see if we can help the patient.
Right. So you mentioned that with the doctors, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, Jeffrey, a little bit.
Yeah, Tim is the spot man.
I think I'm having internet problems now. Wait a second. Go ahead.
Well, because it goes back to, I think, probably about the third time that we were together, and we put somebody, if you remember, on the PEMF device. One, he wanted to get me on the PEMF device and say, "Can I take your pulse while you're on there?" And I said, "I'm not going to let you do that," because the last time I had a doctor of Oriental medicine do that to me out in San Francisco, he said, "You got a hot liver, you got this, you're going to do that." So I said, "I don't want to know. If I've got a hot liver, it's staying hot." but so we put this person on there, and Jeffrey was taking the pulse at the time. But then he started saying, "Wow, wow." And I said, "What?" And he started describing what was happening in the person's body. And it was exactly what was said in the literature would be happening, opening up the capillaries. This would happen, this would do this. So I want to put you on the spot with the easy breath in that regard for the scientific side of the crowd. Is what do you think, and you alluded to it with the rewiring of the brain, what do you think is happening internally to someone with the easy breath that brings this relief?
I love the question. What a great question. Just think about that, how Tim is thinking, right? We have technology now, the pulse electromagnetic frequency, and that technology is designed to do something. And so by taking the pulses and having no idea, right? what it was supposed to do. Tim knew what it was supposed to do. I had no idea that we confirmed this. Again, you use Western technology, but you also have Eastern knowledge, right? Thousands of years, and you're finding how they work together. We have to do a lot more research on it, but I will take a stab at it. Pardon the expression, I'm an acupuncturist too, but take a stab at it. All right. So to that point, Earth is a magnet. Electromagnetic frequency, right? So the first thing that you're doing is that kidney 1 point is Earth surge. You're actually connecting with the magnetic frequency of the Earth. Again, with skill, you'll get better at it. Then you need to learn how to manage that electromagnetic frequency as you move. That's why the PEMF machines are going to be great to make sure whether you're on or not on, as I'll call it a biofeedback device on another level. Again, it's all about more research, more data. But that specific one was, the energy starting the PEMF machine is making it flow more. And Harmonetics starts with the electromagnetic frequency of Earth. And then you can figure out, how to modify that as necessary based on the medical condition.
So I've got a question here, because most data-driven studies or studies to collect the data are controlled in some way. So I'm curious, have you thought about how you control for, we have the placebo phenomenon, which is actually, I consider that absolutely a requirement for healing anyway. The people, the placebo response, people having the belief, and they know that they're going to get better. But how do you control for the fact for breathing technique and showing that it's specific for the breathing technique that's actually getting the job done?
I think that's going to be a long study, but let me try to answer that. I don't have the answer to that right now. I do believe it's a long study to do that. However, let me say it this way. You give somebody a violin, and some people are going to be horrible violin players for their entire lives. And somebody's going to be really good at it, right? Or a piano. But with a little bit of skill, some people can get to a certain level of playing the piano. More practice, you get to another level, right? So if we did a double-blind study and said, okay, give these people violins, don't tell them anything, and give these people violins and teach them, right? So in a way, although we are in the future to do that, on the other side is you take golf, take baseball, take any skill. If you're trained, you have a better shot at doing something with it. If you want to do double blind, it's kind of also what I was taught in Chinese medicine is it's kind of not the right thing to do in certain situations.
If you ever are interested in talking about this offline, I have a lot of experience with running clinical trials and doing controls and delayed starts and things like that. So if you want to chat about it, I'd be happy to, because I think you can come up with a viable control where maybe you have the people, standing in position and they're reading something about while they're breathing, take one breath, read this sentence, take one, some kind of random thing that you do that is not designed to have them gain the awareness that you say the breathing technique allows them to get. You follow me?
I actually, thank you for saying that. We actually had somebody do that years ago. They asked math questions and comprehensive questions. When they were in the correct positioning, where the breathing was correct, the body was in the correct position, it was up to 23% or something like that, more effective in their math problems and comprehension problems. So to that point, that's exactly what I'm saying. Smarter minds than mine, like yours, will know how to do those studies. That's why you surround yourself with smart people.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Great.
Right? We'll talk about that offline. And we've already, any type of studies. The main thing for me right now is give them, educate them, right? So that then they can do something for themselves, right? And that's just the way that, I'm starting this.
Have you thought of writing grants to the Veterans Administration to see if they'll fund these kinds of studies?
We have people doing that at the moment, yes. And also we're doing, also private people can make donations. The Harmonetiks project is a 501c3. So
excellent.
We're starting to, we did the whole year, bootstrapped it, paid for it ourselves, so that we didn't ask, I had one donation of not that much money, but enough to get us through. and then I paid for the rest of it. And we got through a year, 122 veterans or service providers for veterans. Now we're to the point, and we wanted to make sure that it worked before we asked anybody for money. So we're at the stage now.
It's very noble of you. I'm going to interrupt you. It's very noble of you. Most people are asking for money long before they show it works. But anyway, go ahead.
Now you tell me, Bob. Other people have said that too. You're asking for money now afterwards?
It's a really good idea. You have a higher chance of getting the money afterwards when you've shown that something works and you want to extend and expand.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Just my blood pressure just went down. Thank you very much.
So along those lines, Jefferson, glad you two got in that discussion. So we'll be on the recording. One, as you said, people can go to the Harmonetiks project site,
right,
and they can see how the little bit of ability to donate that way. But how else can people get involved at this stage if they want to get involved in helping the veterans and help you address this in the veterans and first responders, Jeffrey?
I would say there's two ways. Okay, there's more than two ways. We'll start with take the course yourself. Take the course yourself. Pay for the course, especially if you do it through 3D self-care. I founded the company with it's a veteran-owned company. It's a veteran-run company, right? So the money is coming into these veterans to help other veterans. So you've got the nonprofit, which is you can make donations and you can take the courses, right? You've got a for-profit company where you can take the course, so it's different ways and learn for yourself, help yourself, right? In the airplane, they say put the mask on yourself. So if you're not a veteran, learn it for yourself, learn it for your family. And if you really like it, which is what's happened, is that people, do you want to learn more? Then you want to become a certified instructor and help others. So, and we need volunteers. We need people to help us with Facebook and, social media. We need people, if there's a, attorney that wants to donate time for the veterans or just if somebody says, hey, I want to help, here's my skill level. Here's what I do. We're welcoming that. And also what we created is also there's programs out there with if you help others by spreading Harmonetiks, then it's an affiliate program where you can get some money too, where you can have more courses, you can donate. If anybody out there wants to use their imagination of how they can help, people are much smarter than I am. It's like, did you ever think of this? No, I never did. Bob brought up a couple things already. Tim, you brought up things. It's like, I never thought of that, right? But for right now, I think getting the word out that you can help yourself and you can help others. And if you say, hey, this is what I'm good at, and you want to help and volunteer, learn. Does that answer your question, Tim?
Yeah.
And Jeff, I want to expand on that because there's some people, they just want to donate. They don't want to do courses. They like what you're doing. They've heard about it. They love veterans and supporting veteran causes. So if somebody just wants to give you and your organization money, what's the link that they go to get that?
And I will send that to you, but it's called the Harmonetiks, HARMONETIKS project.org. Scroll down, there's a donate button.
Right? Super. Thank you.
And I'll
one thing is, again, we're getting close and see if Dr. Bob had any more questions, and anybody that's on with us via Zoom, if you have questions. But one thing I know we didn't touch upon, I may be implied, or I can infer it of it, but so we do the easy breath, and you get some relief. And I heard you earlier, people have worked themselves, they get in harmony, and you were careful not to say a cure, but let's say they cure them, they're cured. But are they? I guess what I'm asking is this a practice they have to keep up to be able to not have the anxiety and be over PTSD in that regard? I'm sure it's a practice one might want to keep up to be in harmony in other regards, but are they ever, so take it and roll from
what we're talking about is you're changing your neural pathways.
Right.
Bob, I'm sure can talk to that. You're changing the information in your neural pathways. At first, it's a little more difficult. Then it becomes a preferred response, and then it becomes the natural response, right? And it's the same thing. I'm going to say stopping smoking. Let's say I can't stop smoking. And a lot of people who slowly got off, and then eventually they're not smokers anymore or anything else, right? So the idea is you have the power to start doing that, and the cheat is it feels so good, I want to keep doing it, right? And I can, and we found people can lift more weight, jump higher, hit the baseball further, golf ball, all of those things automatically come back to your body because you're not working against yourself. You're working in harmony with yourself. We have basically finding that energy and easy breath in a golf swing, right? And you get rid of your back pain and your shoulder pain. Common sense.
Yep. And then I had a question come in here. Let's see how to rephrase it a little bit. But basically, it's basically asking, there's breaths out there, which Bob and I never talked about in one episode before, like box breath and the Wim Hof breathing and things of that nature. Have you seen anything else of these other breathing techniques? I'm not sure how many of these you're aware of, Jeffrey, but have you come across anything else that does what Easy Breath does in this breathing healing capability? And or how would you phrase it? What kind of differentiates the Easy Breath from these other things that are out there?
A couple things. One, I think everybody is trying to do the best they can with what they've got. So Harmonetiks, I always look at as a value add. If you like box breathing, great. Practice Harmonetiks and add it to your box breathing. If you like the Wim Hof method, and that's great, and you want to add it to that. We don't compete with anybody. One of our combat medics that I hope you interview at some point, special operations, flight medic, did all these different breaths, did the cold plunges, hot plunges, talk therapy. And he said they all are helpful, but the easy breath I can do instantly. I can get myself into the easy breath. I don't have to count 4 and do this and do that. I can just, bam, get my body into that state, almost instantly at this point.
And I think that's real. I think that's super important because people need to instantly make shifts. They can't afford to go, hey, I got to wait 5 minutes. Let me go away. I'll come back in 5 minutes. I'll be ready to talk to you. They just can't do it. They got to have instant shifting. And so that's
right.
What you're.
And what I was going to add to that, Dr. Pons, I'm not saying that. They're saying that, right? It's the combat medic. It's the guy who's been on the front line. The guys that jump out of airplanes, right, with rucksacks on their back, who said, this works for me. I've done all of those different things. So, but again, if you like those different types of breathing, do your Harmonetiks breathing. And if you say, I really like the box breathing, go ahead. Mm-hmm. If you like, it's not either or, it's how do I best express myself?
Great.
Right. Very good.
Beautiful point. So before we wrap up here, so I think it's a good point to potentially wrap up on here. But before we do, Dr. Bob, any other questions or any other questions from the audience at this point?
Well, I'm glad just from my own point of view. I mean, the way I work with my clients, it's always about how fast can we accomplish the shift. And I'm really happy to hear that you get feedback from people, Jeff, that that people are able to shift themselves really quickly. That's so important to be able to do in life when we get hit by a circumstance that causes us to do an uh-oh and react. And then if we can interrupt that super fast, then we're going to be in great shape to continue forward in operating with power and effectiveness.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Bob. Now, in that regard, so, Jeff's kind of talked quite a bit here, and Jeff, we'll take you up on the offer to bring in, some of the vets and do a few more things later on. I think it's just very important to have out there to help people address. We always try and give people actionable insights. Both Dr. Bob, myself, and Breck are all about getting impact in society for these changes. So I think you've got a potential way of doing that that's showing some results. So we want to be in position to help that. But Dr. Bob works quite a bit. Not only he does some on the mental side, but also on the physical side, as we talked about a little bit before, getting that immediate pain relief. So Bob, if some of the things that you've talked about resonate with people, I know we've got, they can reach you through Dr. Bob's Talk, drbobstalks.com. But how else might they get in touch with you?
If you're asking me, that's the best way, drbobtalks.com, because I'll throw it in the chat real quick. drbobtalks, which has my cell phone number, my email address, and somebody can reach me that way. And I do free consults, and it's fun to talk to people, see how I can help them. So thank you for bringing that up, Tim. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Pleasure. And it'll also, for those who catch up with us over on on our YouTube channel, which I will give you here, which is you just go to youtube.com at Wellness Wave Club. Not WellWaveNOW. The club is actually Wellness Wave Club. And that's where you'll find the channel. And we'll say right up there featuring the WellWaveNOW podcast. If you go there, you'll see you'll get a replay of this, but also in our show notes, you will see Dr. Bob's link to reach him, as well as a free course he has out there on how to walk away your pain and
how to walk your way out of chronic pain. That's the free course. The link's on there, and go get it and enjoy it. Really, be careful with it. Listen carefully to how I present that, because it's a new way of walking that most people do not do, and the muscles can get really sore. So
yeah, I kind of like my renaming of it, Bob. My don't give me this Dr. Bob and Dr. Jeffreyczimmerman naming of things here. That's the wellness plan manager way. Walk your way out of pain.
There you go. I like that. I like that. That's good. That could be the tagline.
All right. Okay. And one of the members here, I'll read this to you, Jeffrey, before you go. One of our frequent audience members who I thank and always like to be here. She wants you to know, so thank you so much. Great information again. I appreciate your efforts to bring in great guests like Jeffreyczimmerman. And so knowledgeable. Bless you all. Blessing to her as well.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you all for joining us. Appreciate this time with you. Take care.
Take care, Jeffrey. Take care.